Lowe's sabe que entre más opciones tengan los pros, mejores son las posibilidades para sus clientes. Por eso hemos tenido en cuenta los pros como tú, para crear la mejor exhibición con una gran variedad de marcas exclusivas de alfombras Stainmaster, pisos de vinilo ProCore Plus y pisos laminados Pergo. Aprovecha grandes cantidades de los artículos que necesitas y a buenos precios cada día. Otra razón más por la que Lowe's es el nuevo hogar de los pros.
Hey everybody, it's Sam with Pro Wrestling Overtime. And I felt like this couldn't wait. We looked at the WWE Draft for the men's side with Raw. Hope you guys heard that. If not, you need to go back and listen to it where we discussed forming the tag team division on Raw with the 8 tag teams they have, adding, I think we added 2 people, making a 6-man of the 24/7 title and running it across all 4 shows every week. We talked about some of the opponents that they could have with Big E and uh, with Finn Balor. I really think Finn Balor should get in a program with Damian Priest. But you need to go listen to that episode, not this one. This one's about the WWE women. And I may go off on tangents, and for that, I'm sorry. I want to go ahead and apologize because I know that I will end up having to go off into tangents because it seems like WWE, for a period of time in 2020, had their hands on the pulse of everything going on in the pandemic. Whoever was writing for the women at that time seemed to understand them, or at least listen to them. From what I understand, it was another woman that they had hired who has since been let go. Is that the word we're using now? And they haven't really hired anyone else that's truly connected on keeping storylines together and doing what they probably should be doing. Now, TJ Wilson, and I think the name I hear second the most often is pretty much Pat Buck. Although, from what I understand, they're training Molly Holly to also work with the women in the ring. TJ Wilson really gets their confidence uh, pulled up and picked up and listens to them of, I don't know that move is going to go that well with this person doing this. It doesn't really play to their strengths. Or he listens when they take him aside and say, I don't know that this is going to be safe. And they need to also feel safe, I think, in the back, in creative. When they're starting a program, they need to have an end goal in mind of what's going to happen. Now, card is always subject to change, like it did this summer. And I think that affected the draft somewhat. And I keep coming back to it, and some of you wrote me and said, quit talking about it. She's not coming back till February or March. Well, you know what? You're right. But I really do think Bailey's injury changed the game in WWE and not for the best. It wasn't her fault that she was dealt this hand right before she was going to get the belt away from Bianca. Or at least that's what the rumors were. So that Sasha and her could come back and finish a program, or they could take it and go ahead and move Sasha over to Raw and Becky could come back. But that kind of put, I don't know, it slowed down their plans. Their plans were always, and they had told Fox and NBC Universal, or NBC USA Network, that of the four horsewomen, there were going to be two on Raw, two on SmackDown. The two young kids that they brought up, Rhea was going to be on one, Bianca was going to be on one, and then they were going to have Asuka and Alexa Bliss split, and then Carmella and Natty were going to split. Of course, we all knew, and I've been saying this since the summer, Carmella was going to Raw to be around Corey Graves. They don't split up couples. Uh, Naomi was going to be going to SmackDown. And so people were really unsure of what exactly was going on. So we had the draft, and as anyone in creative will tell you, it got messed up. Well, isn't that a no brainer? Every year something gets messed up. You think now they would kind of just go with the flow, fix it. However, I don't know that they fixed it extremely well. They're in the middle of the Queen uh, Crown tournament, and they're not giving time to the matches. They didn't put any of the big superstars in there. And at most, they were getting 3 minutes. Are you serious? These women are that dominating that they can finish other women of similar caliber or capabilities in 3 minutes. Maybe they need to be moved up. But I also noticed in the same shows, we're going to call them the Big Four: Becky, Bianca, Charlotte, and Sasha. With Bianca taking Bailey's place for now. If any of you have paid attention, Bailey is coming back sooner. She is had a schedule, and you got to see her do some range of motion on a bicycle if you were paying attention, and you got to see her do some range of motion in the water. But see, the dilemma, WWE had always thought it was going to be Sasha and Becky, with Becky having the SmackDown Championship. Charlotte was going to have the Raw Championship, and at first it was supposed to be Bailey, but then they decided they would just move Bianca over there, where Charlotte could basically treat her like she had treated Rhea, only with better outcomes. At the last minute, though, Fox became extremely unhappy and they wanted it fixed. They wanted Brock Lesnar appearing on their show and they wanted Charlotte. Now, I hope that Vince McMahon and WWE tried to talk them out of that. But, when money talks, people have a tendency to listen. So, what ended up happening was Charlotte with the Raw belt went to SmackDown. Becky, with the SmackDown belt, went to Raw. Why? Now I've heard everything from they thought that Bianca was going to beat Charlotte for the Raw belt on Monday, and then um, Sasha was going to win the SmackDown belt at Crown Jewel, which I still kind of think will happen, honestly. Now, some friends of mine, I don't know that they have connections or not, have said they think they'll just switch belts like they did the tag teams last year. Well, that was made fun of like crazy. They were the laughing stock of wrestling by doing that last year. Now, I can't see any normal promotion repeating that. However, we all know WWE is not normal. So, when you start looking at the lineups, you see that Raw has 14 women, you see that SmackDown has 10, and then you've got kind of floating out there Asuka and Bailey, and then I noticed another one, Eva Maria's not listed. So, not even sure really where they go with that. Let's focus on Raw just a little bit. Yeah, I heard you back there in the back hollering. We don't know who's on Raw. Okay. I was planning on telling you. Isn't that what you do when you listen to a podcast? You listen. Yeah. So let's talk. We've got in the top tier, you've, of course, got Becky Lynch as the SmackDown title winner on Raw. You've got Bianca Belair chasing her. And then I would say pretty much next up is almost a coin toss. Why? Because who I think is probably third is Rhea Ripley. But she's stuck in a tag team. A tag team champion that really doesn't have anybody gunning for her. They need to fix that immediately. They need to have at least two teams that they can count on each show. Will they do that? I don't know. Will they do away with the tag titles? I don't know. I hope that they don't slap top competitors like Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross together and take them out as singles. Unless you're also letting them be in singles. WWE, unless it's forced and it's reminded over and over and over again, like Sasha and Bailey did in the summer of 2020, they forget about the tag teams. And I think Rhea and Nikki are finding that out. They're not garnering the ratings, and Rhea has just kind of been lost. Who did they expect to be number three? Alexa Bliss. She needs some time off. She's been going through a lot personally, from starting the year out with a stalker to, her pig dying.
Lowe's sabe que entre más opciones tengan los pros, mejores son las posibilidades para sus clientes. Por eso hemos tenido en cuenta los pros como tú, para crear la mejor exhibición con una gran variedad de marcas exclusivas de alfombras Stainmaster, pisos de vinilo ProCore Plus y pisos laminados Pergo. Aprovecha grandes cantidades de los artículos que necesitas y a buenos precios cada día. Otra razón más por la que Lowe's es el nuevo hogar de los pros.
To being engaged to Ryan Cabrera and planning their wedding and all of that, she needed some time off. Now, since she's not the third, and we don't know where Asuka is going to be, whether it's going to be Raw or SmackDown, her and Bailey are free agents. A lot of people I've seen writing on Reddit and writing on Twitter that they get to pick and choose where they're going to go. Guys, you do remember this is wrestling, right? They're not picking and choosing anything. Now, they may come out and say that, but I thought they would leave Asuka alone. Um, I didn't know that they would make her a free agent. But both of these two will go wherever when it's time for them to come back. The shows will be evaluated and they'll go where they're needed. So then when you look down the roster, you're looking at Carmella, Liv Morgan, and Dewdrop probably being in that three spot unless they're willing to bring Rhea out. And so you're looking at Becky and Bianca starting a feud, but I think Carmella, Dewdrop, Liv Morgan, possibly Zelina Vega may sneak her way in there. You're going to be seeing some feuds with them, I hope. But what I'm afraid of is they're only going to be 2 or 3 minute matches, and that's not enough to get people who haven't seen them wrestle longer matches and saw what they can actually do to get mad. Why did they even bother? I didn't see anything exciting, on and on and on. Then you've got the kind of young up and comers. As well, they're not all young, but I guess who I was specifically thinking of was Tegan Nox. But I want to put Mia Yim in there, even Dewdrop in there as the ones that need to learn. So I think you're going to see dark matches or main event matches with Tegan and Dewdrop and Mia Yim, with Tamina, with Dana Brooke. And hopefully they'll work their way up to Carmella and Zelina and Liv Morgan and get some time with them. Now, yes, Nia Jax was drafted to Raw. Now, storyline, Shayna broke her arm or her elbow or her wrist or whatever. Um, it is my understanding that Nia Jax has been in wrestling for the last couple months, having problems with her legs, hips, and she needed some time off to rest. But she is also still in that Raw roster. Now, where it's going to get interesting is the SmackDown side of things. With only 10 women, it's going to be hard to create tag teams or to get the women time. If they get a shot, they almost must be perfect in order to keep their place. I have said this before, and people didn't like it when I said it, and you're not going to like it now. And honestly, that's okay. But when you look at Shotzi, Toni Storm, Aaliyah, Zion Lee, and B-Fab, there are 5 out of the 10. 3 out of the 5 will be cut either right before WrestleMania or right after, if not before. There are still rumors going around that they're going to be cutting people in November. I don't think that they should, and I don't think that they will. They've got too many contracts coming up at the end of December. So we're going to have to wait and see. I don't know that Vince totally gets Shotzi. And Shotzi was always a Triple H character, and she mostly is a Triple H person. So she's got to take the shots that are given to her, make them count. Toni Storm, I think, is a great young talent. Do I think she should have been moved up to the main roster about 3 months ago? Yeah. But she's being asked kind of to play a baby face, but her character is a heel character, which is really weird. So I'm interested to see what they do about that. From what I understood 2 months ago when they started doing the dark matches call ups, Aaliyah and Xia Li were brought up then to see if they could hang, and if they couldn't, they were going to be cut at that time. Xia Li came over with little to no wrestling experience. Um, she got tired of them not using her. I believe it was in June, and booked a MMA fight, and WWE did not even know about it until 2 days before when they saw it advertised. They went and called her and told her, hey, you gotta come to a meeting and ask her what was going on. And she said, you haven't used me in forever. And I just assumed maybe I was fired or you guys weren't going to use me. So I was going to go to this MMA fight. Well, they started all of a sudden using her. And then they created the whole Chinese um, clan, or I hate to use the word mafia. Uh, I guess you can call them a faction. And it went where well some, but I personally did not like it. Xylee is extremely athletic, but so is Io Shirai. So is Saray. That doesn't mean you're getting moved up. She is getting the opportunity, and I think she's got to make it work. She's very quick, but she's very, very small. It, I have a hard time seeing her trying to go up against Nia Jax. And I think so is Vince. So she needs to show any personality that she has so that she'll have a chance. Now, as far as Aaliyah has been in the system 8 or 9 years. She finally got called up to the main roster, and I think it's because they're so short handed and they don't have enough women and they don't want to give them time. So, Aaliyah is the first one I think on the chopping block. I think they really will be paying attention to her. And it won't surprise me if she's gone by the end of the year. B Fab, I want to give her the benefit of the doubt. She hasn't been, on TV very much with NXT. They brought her up because they wanted Hit Row and they wanted Hit Row to come up all together. Are they ready? Uh, I don't know. Swerve probably is. B5 or B-Fab? Probably really not. So I think we're going to get some really good feuds after Survivor Series. I think you are going to see Charlotte, Sasha. I think you are going to see Becky, Bianca. Do I think they try to put them off until next year? Yes. Is Fox and NBC going to let them do that? I don't know. I think Fox needs to step in since she's now on SmackDown and make a deal with Charlotte and the WWE. I am shocked that we're setting at October 21st and Charlotte has not signed a new contract. Her contract is running out on December 30th. Some people say it doesn't matter how much money they give her or how much vacation time that they give her. I think it does. And I think that they really, really need to figure something out. But we're going to have to wait and see if Charlotte signs that contract. If she does, then maybe they'll hold off a little bit on the Sasha Charlotte. I don't know that they can do both as far as hold off on Sasha Charlotte and Becky and Bianca. I really don't think so. Did they do a good job of splitting the rosters? Yeah, 14 to 10 is pretty equal. They got pretty much the same amount of young, kind of new wrestlers with some veterans, with some stars. You can always argue that this one needs to be over here and that one needs to be over there. But I don't know that they're willing to make that happen yet. So, my take on it, I think you're going to see some changes here in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to go into more of what those changes uh, are before Crown Jewel. I'll kind of want to end this under 30 minutes. So, I'll talk to you guys later. hopefully I get to see you down the road.
Lowe's sabe que entre más opciones tengan los pros, mejores son las posibilidades para sus clientes. Por eso hemos tenido en cuenta los pros como tú, para crear la mejor exhibición con una gran variedad de marcas exclusivas de alfombras Stainmaster, pisos de vinilo Procore Plus y pisos laminados Pergo. Aprovecha grandes cantidades de los artículos que necesitas y a buenos precios cada día. Otra razón más por la que Lowe's es el nuevo hogar de los pros.